Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard one of the most frustrating planes that I've ever played. And I think it's all down to me. Or is it? I can't tell. Now, I'm really... This plane feels awesome. This plane is incredible. It has incredible high altitude performance compared to its competitors. It has decent weaponry and it just feels so great to fly, but it's so frustrating to, if you go after results, if you go after kills, and it's a combination of things. Between oh, you're asking what I'm flying? Well, this is a P-38. Big deal? Yeah, this is the P-38K. Yeah, the P-38K, it's a really nice machine, and to just sum it up, it has the default P-38 weaponry. One 20mm AN M2 cannon with 150 rounds, four 12.7 M2 Browning machine guns with 2000 rounds. Everything is mounted centralized. Rank 4, battle rating 5.3, premium plane. Premium heavy fighter, something like this. This plane features no ordnance, no rockets, no bombs whatsoever. So it's a pure fighter. And I show you this first scene right here to get you into the mood, what you can expect. This plane has incredible high altitude performance. It has really great, if not spectacular, climbing capabilities. Really decent energy retention, to be honest. Style, I really like the P-38s in general. Now, I want to make a point here, and that is there are planes in the game that have really great stats that I really like in terms of the look, the history, how they feel to fly, but I can't make them work. And so far, the only one that I really admitted that I really can't make it work was the Typhoon Mark 1B. And if it's the premium version or the Tech Tree version, the late, it doesn't matter. Those planes just miss something. And I really can't point out the finger exactly at what it is. But here, with the P-38, there is always that one thing that I found out. And that was that I either flew too aggressively or too passively. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, especially in this particular battle, the enemies just piled up. I'm not making this up. The enemies just piled up, and while I have so good high altitude performance, a decent climb rate and all that, there was always that one guy that forced me to interrupt my playstyle, to interrupt my, attack run, and to just, go into a semi head on, avoid him and just outclimb him. But by the time I have dealt with him, another guy just appeared, and overall, it's so frustrating because I'm really sure that this plane, flown, accordingly to its very own strength and weaknesses, can perform so much better. But in fact, it's the Germans that cause all the trouble. Why is that? Well, I always say that German planes suck hard in RB when it comes to controllability, reliability, and all that. Decently shown here by the attack runs by the B-49s and also Focke-Wulfs. They just don't have the same performance, the same combination of controllability, maneuverability, and climb rate. What the Germans actually cause you in terms of problems is top speed. At the end of the day, if you make that one mistake and you're forced to dive away, you just, drag out the inevitable. Because at the end of the day, the Germans will catch you. And regardless if it's a B-49 K4 or a Focke-Wulf, they will run you down, because at the end of the day, you are very often the last player alive. You have the altitude advantage, you have the energy retention, but at the end of the time, you're just, trying to get into position for such a long time that at the end of the day you run out of fuel, you run out of ammunition or something like that, and it just takes the Germans a few good hits to take you down. The P-38s have a long history in my memory. Well, the first time they appeared was in the, if I'm correct, at rank 13, back in the 20 tier system, and they had an atrocious flight model, even in arcade, because at that time I just played arcade, and they just felt really, really bad. Now, at the end of the day, the flight models got improved, adjusted, and well, the P-38 or the XP-38G is really nice to fly. The K, however, just has such a high battle rating that a lot of the advantages that you think you could achieve by putting, I guess, stronger engines in it get a little bit lost. Now, I will show you an ace gameplay just in a moment, but at the end of the day, it's just frustrating. Whatever you do, you could go for that one kill, but you want to also keep the advantage overall. And that just forces you in incredibly stupid and awkward situations. Look at this, how the enemies pile up behind me. And at first they couldn't catch me, but at the end of the day, it's the G55S that will put the final nail into the coffin for me. And yes, when Germans and Italians are mixed, you need to take care of the Italians first, because they just are the most dangerous in terms of handling. So, that's enough for this battle. Let's go on Sicily, and let's talk a bit more special, or a bit more in detail about the plane. It has not an air start. It doesn't feature any ordnance. I told you about the weapon before, or the weaponry, and it's just your standard P-38 from battle rating 3.3 onwards. But it climbs at an incredible rate. It keeps its performance overall up until to 9 kilometers altitude. In the previous battle you saw me, fighting at very high altitudes. Now the plane comes with a few problems at the end of the day. First of all, the total lack of ordnance in endgame situations can be decisive in 1 out of 50 battles, I guess. But the main drawback, I feel, is the engine overheating, and I try to deal with it with manual engine controls, but that is not guaranteed to solve the problem. In the long run, just no way saves you, and yeah, that's a bit of a shame. I think the plane is a little bit held back, and I just can't get over it, how frustrating this plane can be from time to time. And one thing we will see in this battle as well. Now, the funny thing about the P-38 is that you climb so incredibly fast at such an overall speed. I think the best climb speed is around 300 to 290 kilometers an hour. So that you actually can engage the enemy fighters before they actually reach your bombers, if your bombers stay at altitude. And I'm talking here about your usual B-17s, B-29s and B-24s. If they stay at altitude, you can escort them. But again, I think the key aspect of this plane to really show what it can do is to squad up with 3 other P-38Ks. And as you saw in the beginning, I had kind of the advantage over the enemy, but I never could, pick one of them out. if you are on comms with your team members or your squad members rather, and you coordinate the defensive, offensive, baiting tactic, then you can absolutely wreck the enemy. I have no doubt about that. I did not try it, but you know, if I want to try it with one plane, it's this one. It's definitely this one. The problem is you're flying still Americans, and the 50 cal buff was kind of overall a good thing. Like, the Americans do not lose anywhere as close to the amount of matches that they previously did, but they still do very stupid things, and I see so many pilots in P-51s, P-47s, and you know, a whole lot other variety of planes being equipped with 50 caliber machine guns, just forcing the head-ons without using their main advantages, if they have them, you know, like speed advantage and altitude advantage. No, it has to be a head-on, because that is the American way of, you know, warfare. Not really, but it doesn't really matter. So again, the main idea behind this plan is that you try to do team play, but the average American team still suffers a lot from the amount of bombers that you get thrown into your team. Still, the very, very high performing Japanese planes overall, and then the raw discipline with the German teams and also the Italian teams these days. Like, you know, you can overcome their flights or their planes performances, but the pilot behind the stick is really a hard nut to crack, I have to say. Now, this Focke-Wulf is diving away. I don't really want to, you know, give up my altitude and speed that I have, and so I follow him into the clouds. And this is going awkward. By the way, look at the graphics at the moment. Oh, stunning. So here we go into the clouds. I try to follow the dot, and I try to listen to the surrounding. There it is. And yeah, I kind of missed him. A lot of hits, but not good enough. What a shame. But it's just a D13. Really, really disastrous handling. I have enough speed on my wings, so to speak, that I can pull off this. And the P-38 is incredibly strong at doing loops. Like, I haven't seen a twin-engined plane in this game that likes to do the loop as much as this plane does. It's just incredible. And look at this situation that is right there. There are two planes above me, one of them being an Italian and one being a Bf-109. Now, in a normal American plane, you kind of would be in a real disadvantage, but I have the speed, the energy retention, and the acceleration to deal with them, and that was just a beautiful kill. And with a German plane, I would have not been able to do this, to kind of control the aircraft in such a way to point the guns to that point where I predicted that the enemy would pass. Was there a bit of luck involved? No doubt about that. That in the rate of fire, the bullets hit there where I knocked out his plane. Awkwardly, it was not a pilot snipe. Was kind of lucky, yes, but the controllability, the performance of the plane, it just feels right. So now I'm switching target to the G56, and he is kind of, yeah, he's avoiding the head-on, and I hit him a little bit. Seems like a 50 caliber hit in the fuselage, which did not do a lot of damage. And look at the loop, look at this. With combat flaps at the right speeds, yeah, now I'm hanging a little bit dead in the air, but it doesn't matter. I have the high altitude performance, I have the acceleration, and I'm sitting behind him. So at this point, I'm thinking to myself, well, he's running away. So at this point, I changed my usual playstyle, and I go the aggressive way, the greedy way, and I dive after them. I can see their silhouettes over the lake with no trouble at all. I'm switching focus to the rear Focke-Wulf and miss him. Reduce speed at just under 800 kilometers an hour. Well, that's not very good. And there is another Focke-Wulf. And he's strafing ground units. So, and tracers come behind me. So let's have a look at what the results will be. Just a hit. Not very good. Not very good. So, and I'm zooming through. And look how fast they fall off behind me. This is just ridiculous. Even with the performance. And the G56 was the one that was the most dangerous one. So at this point, I think to myself, I have to put him down. At this moment, I have a fuel leak, but it's not really a drastic fuel leak. And yeah, there are too many targets for me. I look at the ME410. I see that he's firing with his rear turret, so no direct control input from the pilot. The Focke-Wulf goes perfectly in my gun sight, and I just can't make it work for the double kill on the G56. And also the ME410 burns down. You know, German planes love to burn once they're on fire. I mean, the only exception being the Do 335 that likes to extinguish fires. And this G56, well, he didn't have the airspeed under his wings to make the controllability. And yeah, I didn't waste cannon rounds here on this Focke-Wulf 190 D9, mainly because I didn't have any left. So there's that. And now I actually could try to stall fight this Focke-Wulf 190 D9. I would have great confidence in my abilities, but then another plane comes in, and that is again one of the major drawbacks of this plane. It's actually pretty nice in a 1 versus 1 situation, and I hit him here again, but not decisively. And it's really frustrating. In a 1 versus 1, I guess I could take down so many players, but then at the end of the day, I end up with so many players on my tail, and that is something that I'm not used to, you know. And now I try to run away, but both engines are overheating. My plane has taken a not insignificant amount of damage. So let's see if I can actually run. And what I did not really realize is that I had my engine cowlings open to 100% to, you know, prevent the engines from overheating. But the problem is I have run down the internal engine clock, so I'm still overheating, but I'm not really, you know, using the flaps. And I'm pretty confident that I could have kind of turned with the Focke-Wulf 190, but at the end of the day I turned wrong and he kills me. It was the Italian plane that forced me to pull off this maneuver. At the end of the day, I just can say that I really like the P-38K. Much like a lot of the other P-38s, I think it's a great plane, but to have to fly with American teammates is still a drawback, and the discipline of the German teams in particular is highly annoying, because you are superior to their planes in a 1 versus 1, but their simple team play just really costs you so many kills and so many deaths in return. It's very frustrating. Do I like the plane? Yes. Is it good? Yes. Does it bring the results that I expect from it? Sadly, no. However, that's it for me today. Let me know in the comment section what you think about this plane. Do you have it? Do you want it? What are your experiences in it or fighting against it? And please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies of War Thunder.